yesterday? Yes, on Monday. So let's see if we can get this guy done today. Let's see if we can get him done in class. Here we go. Problem number 1. Find MN. This was the very first question on your quiz, wasn't it? Who can tell me what MN is? We're going from M to N. So what would that be? If you said 3, -1, you are absolutely correct. Because in order to get from M to N, we go 3 positive units and 1 negative unit, right? Everybody good on that? All right, number 2. Lots of different questions. Here we go. So the first one. All right, we haven't talked about this in a couple days. V dot U. Who remembers how we V dot U? Okay, I am on Prequest number 1, question number 2A. How do I find the dot product of V and U? Who can tell me how to find the dot product? Brittany. Exactly. Did you hear what she said? You multiply the x's, you multiply the y's, and you add them together. You should get a number, one number. So when I multiply my x's, I get 3. When I multiply my y's, I get -8. So the answer to the problem is -5. All right, now we're doing this one. All right, how do we start? There's something we probably need to do first. What do we need to do first? Multiply V by 2. What do we call the 2, by the way? A scalar. We're going to multiply the V by 2, so that would give me 2 -4. And then I'm going to subtract 3, 4. All right, so here we go. How am I going to subtract these 2 vectors? What am I going to do? Subtract x minus x. So 2 minus 3 would be -1. And -4 minus 4, -8. And there's your answer. What does number C mean, or letter C? What are we even looking for in that problem? Magnitude. How do we find magnitude? Pythagorean theorem. So let's take a look at V. V looks like this, right? So what would its magnitude be? How long is it? Square root of 5. So the magnitude, the answer to C is the square root of 5. D is easy, just V plus U. What's our vocabulary word for the sum of 2 or more vectors? Resultant. What do we get when we add V and U together? We're just going to add them, so what do we end up with here? 4, 2? Uh-oh. E is a little bit tricky. Be careful with E. Now, we know what these bars mean, right? What do these bars mean? Magnitude. But we don't start with magnitude. We have to start by figuring out what this is so that we can find its magnitude. All right, so here we go. V, or V. 1 -2. Minus, all right, what's 3U? 3U's would be 9, find 12. So now we're going to subtract these. So 1 minus 9 is negative 8. And negative 2 minus 12 is negative 14. Now that's this. So what do I need to know now? What do I need to do? Find the magnitude. So negative 8, negative 12, or negative 8, negative 14. I'm going to need a calculator for that one, I think. I got the square root of 260. Is that what you got? Now, I don't know if that breaks down or not. Let's see. 260 is 2 times 130, which is 2 times 65. So, yeah, it's 2 root 65 if we simplify it. That's a big number. Sorry about that. All right, F. U minus V. So 3, 4 minus 1, negative 2. So U minus V. All right, what do we get when we do U minus V? Hey, this is a participation sport, people. Let's go. What's U minus V going to be? 2, 6. Good job. All right. Any questions about part 2, number 2? All those questions in number 2. All right, let's look at number 3 then. Find the components and magnitude of AB. All right, let's start with the components. What do we mean by components? What are we looking for when it says find the components? What are we looking for? We're looking for the ordered pair, the coordinates, X and Y. So you're going from A to B. We've done this before. What are the coordinates if we're going from A to B? What's my X? 6. And what's my Y? There you go. So there are the coordinates or components. That goes in the first blank, components. Yeah, magnitude. How do I find magnitude? Pythagorean theorem. So I'll just draw a picture of 6, 4. And that's going to be the square root of 52, which I think also breaks down 2 root 13. Everybody okay with number 3? Number 4 is kind of the same, except they just drew a picture of it for us. But it says find the components, which means, again, what am I looking for? Coordinates. So the answer is going to look like this. And the picture looks like this. All right, so how do we do this now? How do we find the X and the Y that go with that picture? What? Yeah, well, yeah, because we're going to make a triangle here, Lily. And in order to do the problem, we need that angle right there. And Lily said, okay, that's going to be 180 minus 115, so that's 65. What?
16 cos 65.
Yep, exactly. We're going to do cosine and sine, because this is X and this is Y. And Zach says, I remember that cosine 65 equals X over 16. So X is going to be 16 cos 65. And what's Y going to be? say sine, not sin. But 16 sine 65. Now, we can type those in, and we're going to get our x and our y, but we do have to be careful about something. Can anybody tell me what I have to be careful about? The cosine is negative. Very, very good. Look at your picture, gang. Look at your picture. See this x right here? Would you agree he's a negative number?
Yeah.
You got to remember to make him negative. It doesn't come out in the math. You have to make that change. Got it? Now, is the y negative? No. Just the x is negative in this problem. Does anybody have a question about that problem? Now, on your quiz that you just took, you had a question that looked like this, but it was in quadrant 1. The vector was sticking out here in quadrant 1. So did you have to worry about negatives on your quiz?
No.
No. But you might on the test, so pay attention to which quadrant you're in. Okay? All right, number 5. We are going to find the angle between these two vectors. So our vectors are 2, 4 and negative 1, 5. And we're going to find the angle between them. All right, we've done this. Who remembers? We got some steps we have to go through. Who remembers how we start? Oh my. Get your note sheets out. Look at your notes. Look at the examples we did. What? No. No, we don't need a unit vector here. Not for this particular problem.
The magnitude of the first quadrant times the magnitude of the second quadrant times cosine of the angle.
Equals what? Equals what? What's on the other side? Ashley says mag times cosine. And that equals something. Does anybody remember what it equals?
The dot.
It equals the dot product. Exactly. This is our little formula that we use. So first thing, we need to figure out what the dot product is. So what's the dot product of these two vectors? How do you find the dot product again? Okay, we had just talked about it a few minutes ago.
X.
Terry?
X, multiply the x's and multiply the y's.
Not subtract them, add them.
Yeah.
So we're going to multiply our x's, so I get negative 2. And I'm going to multiply my y's, and I get 20. So what's my dot product? 18. So that's what goes here, 18 equals. Now, this means magnitude of the first, magnitude of the second. So here are our two vectors. What's the magnitude of V? Figure it out. How do you find magnitude? Square root of 20. Now remember, that is not the answer, so let's just leave it root 20. We're going to get 2 of these. Remember how we put them together and get just 1? So let's leave it root 20. What's the magnitude of the second vector? Square root of 26 times the cosine of the angle that I'm looking for. So then I'm going to put those two radicals together. So I have 18 equals the square root of 520 cosine theta. Who remembers what comes next? What comes next? What do I do? I divide. So I have 18 divided by the square root of 520 equals cosine theta. And then how do I actually get the angle? I actually am looking for the angle. What button do I have to press on my calculator? Second coast, right, second coast. 18 divided by the square root of 520. I got 37.87, but I'll wait for you to confirm. Kids, the quest on Monday looks just like this. So you're going to have to be able to do this problem. So what's our little formula? Ashley gave it to us. What is it? Dot product equals mag times cosine.
Yeah.
All right, number 6. This is what we just did yesterday. Can anybody remember how to remove the parameter? I think yesterday it said eliminate the parameter. Same thing. Anybody remember how we do that? Get t by itself. And it doesn't matter which equation you use, but I think it would be easier to use the top one. So what does t equal in the top equation? T equals, what does t equal here? X minus 2. So we get t by itself. Then what do? Plug it into the other equation, substitute it. So y equals 3 minus 2 times x minus 2. And then we do our distributive. Watch your distributive there. And then we kind of clean it up a little bit. Now we started out with 2 parametric equations. Now we just have one equation, right? It says write as a single equation. What shape would that be? Is that a line or a parabola? That's a line. Y equals mx plus b. No squares in that. That's just a line. Anybody have a question about that? That's number 6. All right, we did number 7 yesterday also. Does anybody remember our strategy for number 7? Okay, what is it? What's our strategy for number 7? Who remembers?
X, Y, the first one.
Very good, Jamal. We start by setting up our vector equation. This is called the vector equation. So we say xy equals, and we have a parentheses, and then we have plus t times another parentheses, right? Now, who remembers, okay, wait, our 2 points are 1, 2, and 3, 5. Who remembers what goes in the first parentheses?
The first.
The starting point. So that's going to be 1, 2. Now somebody in this room is going to put 3, 5 here. And of course I'm going to mark it wrong because that's not what goes here. What goes here? So how do we move? How do we get from point A to point B? So how do we get there? We go from 1 to 3, so that is 2. And we go from 2 to 5, so that is 3. That's what goes here. How you get from point A to point B. Now, your job is to come up with the 2 separate equations. So do you remember how we do this?
Yeah.
X comes from the front of everything. So x will equal 1 plus 2t. And y comes from the back of everything, so y will be 2 plus 3t. Everybody remember that from yesterday? All right, number 8. We have an airplane flying at a speed of 362 on a course of 128. All right, now, we're going to draw it first. But now we actually have to do some stuff with it. On your quiz, you just drew it. So let's just draw it first and get started. A course of 128. Remember, if we're doing courses, our labels are different. Which quadrant is 128 going to be in? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Where am I going to put 128? Quadrant 4. Because this is 0, this is 90, this is 180. So when I put in 128, it's going to look like this. This is 128 degrees. And its magnitude is 362. So there's the picture. On the quiz, that's all you had to do. But now it says find the components. Which means what again? The coordinates. Our job is to find x and y. That's what we're going to find for that vector. So what do I need to do to find x and y? Don't I need to make a triangle? And this would be x and this would be y. Everybody okay with that? Now, how am I going to find x and y? I need to find the angle right here. You're right, Lily. And how big would that angle be? 38 degrees. She is so on target. Why is that angle 38 degrees? Because the whole thing is 128. And how much is this? 90. So how much past 90 did I go to get down to 128? Didn't I go 38 more? So now I have this triangle. And how do I find my x and my y? We already did this once today. How do I find them? Cosine 38 equals x over 362. So x equals 362 cosine 38. What will y equal? 362 sine 38. So I go to my calculator and I type those in. And I got 285.26 and 222.87. And by golly, I got a couple points off. What's wrong? What's negative? The y is negative. Take a look at your picture, kids. Does it make sense to you that your y has to be negative? You got to pay attention to that, okay? It won't come out on the calculator. You need to do that. All right, we'll do one more. This is all we have time for. We'll do number 9. Then you have to finish. You have to do 10, 11, and 12 on your own. But we'll do number 9. Find a unit vector in the same direction as 5, -1. All right. How do we find a unit vector in the same direction as 5, -1? What's step 1? Find the magnitude. What will the magnitude of this vector be? Square root of 26? How did I get 26? 25 plus 1. Now, how do I get the unit vector then? Divide both of those numbers by root 26. And then rationalize as necessary. That was on your quiz too, wasn't it? All right, so your homework for Friday is to do problems 10, 11, and 12, and then study anything else you need to study. Practice again. On Friday, we'll review. On Monday is request. All right, everybody? Okay, I need to take attendance.